Alright guys, it's Philip for Tuesday, March 16th, free agent frenzy. Let us start off yesterday. I of course recorded that video around 4:30 yesterday, so a lot of signings happened at night. I'm not going to go over every single signing because there were a lot of minor ones, but I will go over everything major, and if there are a few minor ones that I deem important, I'll go over those as well. Let's start off with Corey Linsley to the Chargers. Of course, the Packers signed Aaron Jones to a long-term extension just a few days ago, and the Chargers go on and sign the lineman that helped make Aaron Jones such a profitable runner. Corey Linsley will go and anchor an excellent Chargers offensive line who has continued to sign pieces such as Matt Filer throughout the day, including bringing back Michael Davis as well. So really good moves by the Chargers. Quickly moving on, the Raiders go on and sign Yannick Ngakoue. He is going to be the true pass rusher. They have a few good run stoppers. Max Crosby had 9.5 sacks, only 5 this year. Clelin Ferrell is one of the better run defenders in the league. They also have Mo Hurst. Yannick Ngakoue is going to add a really deadly element onto there if he can be effective. Speaking of Raiders, the Patriots go on and sign Nelson Aguilar as well as Kendrick Bourne, and later on they will re-sign Dietrich Wise and Hunter Henry. A huge day once again for the Patriots as they continue to build up that offense around Cam. They have spent more in the first 2 days of this free agency than any team spent in free agency the past 3 years. So a huge jump for the Patriots going into 2021. The Rams give a massive extension to Leonard Floyd. Floyd was a very solid pass rusher in Brandon Staley's defense. Of course, he worked with Staley in Chicago. And Floyd will be back for 4 years, around $16 million per year. Very good money for Leonard Floyd. The Broncos signed breakout corner Ronald Darby. Darby had excellent success in Washington after only having mild success in Philadelphia, so Darby will go and be along Michael Ojemudia and Bryce Callahan, which this kind of eliminates their need for the corner position in the draft, so we'll have to see how they continue to address that. Broncos, of course, were often being mocked players like Patrick Surtain or Caleb Farley, so now that they have a kind of a corner one, they don't necessarily need a top-tier corner. The Jaguars made some really interesting signings today. They bring on Carlos Hyde to a 2-year, $6 million contract. Now, of course, Hyde was recruited by Urban Meyer to play at OSU. And last year played in Seattle. He's played in Jacksonville, in Cleveland, in Houston for the Texans, where he had 1,000 yards rushing. So he's not quite out of it, and I'm pretty sure him and the guy Brian Dable brought on yesterday will make up really nice pieces of that running back core alongside James Robinson. Now we'll get some pass rushers here. The Titans signed Denico Autry from the Colts. Autry was a solid role-playing defensive tackle who had quite a few sacks this past year. He signs to a 3-year, $21.5 million deal. Really nice signing for the Titans. And they go on and they sign Bud Dupree to a 4-year, $84 million contract just later on. So their defensive line will include Jeffrey Simmons, Bud Dupree, and Denico Autry. Really solid upgrades for them. The Jets also spent some money today. They spent money on Corey Davis and Carl Lawson. Davis signing a 3-year, $37.5 million contract. Of course, he was picked in 2017 in the first round, as well as Lawson, who is now heading over to New York from Cincinnati. Cincinnati goes on to replace Carl Lawson with Trey Hendrickson, who had the second most sacks in the league this past year. So some edge rushers moving around. Of course, the Saints couldn't re-sign Hendrickson. That was just common knowledge. The Saints are able to re-sign Jameis Winston to a 1-year, $12 million contract, which is really cheap for a quarterback. And if he is their starter and that's a prove-it deal, that is a really solid deal for the Saints to go through with. The Vikings signed Dalvin Tomlinson, who was a really good run-stopping defensive tackle. They're getting Everson Griffin and Michael Pierce back next year, and along with a few of the other guys that already played well in their defensive line could return to one of the best in the league next year, which is really scary for me as a Bears fan. Washington signs Ryan Fitzpatrick. Really interesting contract here. I don't even know if he's going to be on their roster come preseason. Here's the thing. He's going to compete with Taylor Heineke. I don't really feel like that's much of an upgrade at quarterback over Alex Smith, and I still feel if another excellent quarterback becomes available that they would be somewhat in the mix for him. I don't think Fitzpatrick or Heineke are long-term options. Shaquille Griffin also goes to Jacksonville to play alongside C.J. Henderson. Griffin is coming off a really good season in Seattle, and Seattle continues to lose many of their starting and role-playing pieces, which isn't good news for them because they want to keep Russell Wilson under contract. The Bengals make another move, signing Mike Hilton to a 1-year contract. The Steelers re-signed Cam Sutton to a 2-year deal, so it was pretty obvious they weren't going to re-sign Mike Hilton. So Hilton goes to the division rival to play alongside Chibade Awuzie. And finally, the final news from the past 24 hours is the Giants have reached a 3-year, $63 million deal with Leonard Williams. A lot of players had renegotiated contracts today. Williams, they tenured Von Miller, just Gronk came back. So a lot of players I thought were pretty obvious to come back, so I didn't really include them in this video. Much of the news circulating right now is the Bears are actually looking at trading Anthony Miller, which we'll have to see how that moves forward in the future, potentially clearing up cap space for Trent Williams or Russell Wilson. Alright, that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys all enjoy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another free agency frenzy. Alright, I'll see you then.